Oh my gosh, this is what we're talking about right here. What is up, everybody, and welcome! Welcome, I say, to the new QVC, or at least that's what James and Tata are trying to do. Sarper and Shekinah are having a disagreement because he doesn't want her to get a new nose, but yet he wants to design said new nose, which is interesting. Josh and Lily are having to have a mediator, which is fun, and Sean and Joanne are kind of floundering on how to make this happen while getting all the boys on board, along with all the family members in general. I don't know that that's going to work, but we will see. First, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. You know what comes back next week? Married at First Sight. I was off a little bit because the leak apparently was off by 2 weeks, but it's coming back next week, so look for those videos as well. Let's get it started.
Jared here is actually helping ease a lot of the tension between Lily and I. He's always been a peacemaker.
That is not his job. So he's happy to have him there because he's always been a peacemaker in his relationships. However, you don't need a peacemaker. You got married, you're over there, you're going to have this other wedding ceremony, and you're already having all these issues, which we'll get to a little bit about what's going on, but yet you need a peacemaker already? My man, it is not going well if you really need this mediation so quick in your relationship. The biggest issue y'all have is two things: the language barrier, time for you to learn some Mandarin or Chinese, and also the fact that you can't work. I get it, but somehow y'all got to get on the same page with that, and you got to make some money somewhere, or she's got to be okay with this whole 3-year thing, because that's the visa you got.
About how much you're paying for him, because he feels bad that he can't contribute.
Yes, 100%. And the interesting thing, we get a little deeper into what she's trying to say. And the fact is she does bring up money a little too much. Everything's about money. But when she talks about it, she's actually saying that, well, you know, I buy things for him and I don't feel appreciated. So it's not so much about I'm spending this money and you need to go make money. It's I don't feel like you're appreciating me. Now, some of that is language barrier, and some of that is the fact that Josh is a man-child. He is an absolute man-child.
Your love languages are switched. The men usually show their love by buying things.
Bingo.
And then we think that the women, if they don't appreciate the things that we buy, we don't feel loved.
Bingo. However, I will say that if you are, you know, a man that's trying to give your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, something, and you're secure with yourself, if they don't show true appreciation, yeah, it sucks, but at the same time, you're not going to throw a fit about it. So I will point that out there, because if you have true love with someone, you don't need to absolutely feel praised and everything. You just don't. Like, you bring home some flowers, and they're like, oh, these are nice. And don't be like, oh my gosh, it's the best thing in the world, the most beautiful flowers I've ever seen. You're still okay. The fact is this is interesting because he's right. Great analysis. It is flipped. Josh is the emotional one, and he's kind of like, I'm very, very sensitive. And she's like, I buy you things. Why don't you appreciate it? So this dynamic is interesting, and also goes to show that he is an absolute man-child.
He's some sort of man-child.
He needs to get it together and stop being so sensitive. The fact is if she's not going to stop this and it's really going to bother you, it's time to go, because you can't work for 3 years or whatever it is, I believe it was 3, on the spousal visa that you're on. So you're stuck where you're at unless you can figure out some side jobs, which should be interesting, where you don't speak the language. The best thing he can do right now is focus his energy on his wife and learning the language and being able to communicate better. Those should be his two focuses right now. Not complaining about, she's saying this about the money. If it hurts you that bad, leave. So they got some things to work out. The fact that his brother's there as a mediator, I think his brother has some great insight, but he should not have to be that. He is, and right now maybe it's helping, but once he leaves, it's back to what it was. How is that going to change? James and Tata continue to have many money problems, and is it going to change at all? No, because guess what? He didn't have a plan either. Are you seeing a theme here? People go over to these situations, they have no plan. They think they're going to ride on their carpet of love, and that's going to bring them the whole way. Hate to break it to you, you can love someone, you still have to have a plan. You still have to have effort. Love does not pay the bills. And when you're over there and, again, doesn't speak the language, can't get a job, you're going to have issues. And for some reason, he had this magical opinion that he was going to be able to jump on and sell banana chips and make a real living until about a month before he went over there, when she told him in passing, no, that's not how it works, before she flew over there. So kind of put him in a bind. Still left being a elevator repairman and just up and left for the second time. So, and now potentially he's going to have to go back again with his tail between his legs. At some point, his family's going to be like, nope.
That one day we're in Indonesia, we're going to do wedding ceremony for my.
And explain to me how you are affording this wedding ceremony when all y'all talk about is how you don't have any money. This might be a little bit of a problem here, considering that the last thing I heard was we are in dire straits, we got to figure out how to make money, and we're going to try to sell our Michaels jewelry, like we're QVC or something. But yet, how is that going to work? Let's find out.
To keep adding more and more things. He wants to add more guests. He wants to add very expensive entertainment. More expensive venue. We don't have the funds for that. And definitely starting to cause some grading between me and Tata's dad.
And I wonder why, considering the fact that he wants to do all this, you just got done telling him you have a car you have to pay for that you can't, afford. And he was like, oh, we'll make it work. But yet he's not paying for this. He expects you to pay for this and all the things he's going to add. Explain to me how that works, and why isn't she saying, Dad, we are broke. We made a stupid decision for him to leave his job because I claim to have these medical issues that magically got fixed, but the doctors over there couldn't figure out that I had hyperthyroidism, but over here in Indonesia with holistic medicine, it somehow worked. That's a whole other thing. Regardless, why didn't she just say to him, Dad, we don't have money. We made some bad decisions. We're over here now. We don't have money. We got to figure it out. Sorry, you got to be honest with your parents at some point. I get you're living there, but, you made your bed, got to lay in it.
But also, I think James can learn to be better son-in-law.
Oh, could he?
He can respect the culture
Can
and
he?
help with the banana chips because I want him to close to my parents.
He can respect the culture and help with the banana chips because I want him to be close to my parents. My God, she just doesn't get it. She doesn't get that there is no money there. How many times do y'all have to have this discussion? How can he sit there and help with the banana chips when he presumably has to be working to make money? Or she's just thinking, oh, it'll magically come or something. Or we will just continue to take money from my parents, but he won't take a salary. He'll just help to make banana chips. Like, this lady is in La La Land. And we'll learn that she's going to dig in her heels and she's really just, she wants what she wants. Time to leave, James. And you're something else too. You got your own problems. You are nothing short of a man-child your damn self. But the fact is the best thing for you is to leave, go back, and start again. And learn from this one and don't do the same thing for a third time. Count them, 3.
Buddy with your dad all I want. I can try to help him with banana chips, but is that helping us make money? No.
No.
Is that helping take care of you? No.
No.
And I know you don't look at the money side as much as I do, but it's a real
Why
thing
would she?
that I have to deal with because at the end of the day, every man in our family is going to look at me as the failure.
Well, they really should all be, and I think your parents are already looking at you like the failure, as they should, considering you left the job again, a secure living, being an elevator mechanic, your family's business, to move to Indonesia without a damn plan, and now you're crying about it. So I only have so much sympathy for you, because these things you should have been able to think about. Now, you may say, I did it for love, and she wanted to be over there, I was trying to do what's best for her, but you could not provide for her. So explain that one to me. You can't, because it was a dumb decision. You're an idiot. Make good decisions now and say, we don't have the money, we have to move back to the States, or whatever you're going to say. And if it's going to fall apart, it's going to fall apart. You don't have any choice here. The fact is y'all don't have any money. She wants kids. There's all kinds of things that are going to break y'all up in the future anyway. Time to do it now. Pull the Band-Aid off and be done with it. That's just the reality.
Countless stores, but none of them wanted to put it in their stores because it would take away from their designs.
Shocker. The people at the stores in Indonesia, who are already, a lot of them are poor, trying to sell their own jewelry that they make, will not put your jewelry in their stores to sell, so you're not making money. Who would have thought that could have happened? So you thought, oh, we'll get our jewelry business going. This was the most unthought through experience for them. And she lived there. She could have said all this right off the bat, but clearly she's got impulse control issues and, this thinking that thinks, oh, everything's going to be fine, instead of thinking through every possible outcome and how things could go wrong. At least a little bit of analytical thinking instead of some grandiose everything's going to be okay thinking. No, she couldn't do that and say, hey, James, let's talk. This may not be great, because she wanted so bad to go there. So she was disingenuous. He was disingenuous. They all are every step of the way. You have no business being together. See, Easy analysis. Now, just clean break.
Yeah, because I was so sick. The doctor don't even know what happened to me.
Yeah, don't buy it. Don't buy it at all. So she's talking about the doctor thing, and she say at some point, I believe it was either hyper or hypothyroidism that she had in the beginning, or a few episodes ago, she said that's what she had, and she had to go back to Indonesia to figure that out. You know what shows you what that is? A simple blood test. So are you saying that none of the doctors did a blood test on you? Or are you saying that you were lying the whole time? Like, because you could have been lying about it, gone over there, had a holistic doctor telling you, oh yeah, this is what it is. And you're like, okay, take these herbs and now you feel better. Well, you were lying. So I think she manipulated that and used that as an excuse. I don't think she was ever sick, because you're saying you went to all these doctors for something that they can look at a blood test and see your hormones are off. Yeah, she's lying about that. Manipulative. They both have a lot of issues and lied about things. He was not upfront about not wanting to have kids. She was lying for ways to get back to Indonesia. This is not a relationship that is on steady footing.
I lived in state almost 3 years, and then James not even make it here for 3 months.
Lady, your situations were a little bit different. He had a secure job, and you didn't have to work because everything was provided for, all the money. You go over there, he can't get a job, y'all don't have any money. What do you expect him to do? He should have thought this through. That was his mistake. But the fact that you're trying to say, I lived there for 3 years and he can't even last 3 months. Yeah, because he had a job over there and doesn't have one over here. Easily solved. Like, wait, are you trying to make it seem like you're strong? I mean, yeah, I'm sure it was difficult being away from your family, but the circumstances were different. Now he's away from his family, and that's not the reason he's saying he needs to go back. It's because y'all don't have any money. Oh, Lord, these two. They're either going to be broken up by the end of the season, or the season's going to end. They're going to be like, but we can get through it together. And then like 2 weeks later, you're going to read some random news story 10 pages down saying, yeah, they broke up. Just like, The Bachelorette and all that crap you see all the time. So interesting, sure. But God, how do these people even get together and think it's going to work? I don't know. It's ridiculous. Now, Sarper and Shekinah are to the point where now they're talking about the nose job that she needs to have. But this is her third one. So she can't seem to get it right. And it's just gonna be problems. Because if you're on your third one, like now at this point, you're like, at what point is it just going to collapse? Is it just going to be over? I mean, like, she needs to get her, body dysmorphia issues under control. That's what she needs to check. When you're doing all these surgeries, all these injections, all these things like that, claiming you're trying to, because it makes you feel good. I'm like, yeah, but you also have problems with your body. And that's a big problem in and of itself.
Got too,
Nothing
but they
wrong
just
with that.
didn't
Nothing
result
wrong with
in
that.
something I was happy
Oh
with.
my gosh. This is what we're talking about right here. You have absolutely Michael Jackson nose vibes, and it didn't end great for him with the body dysmorphia and all that crap he had going on. And his nose was absolutely collapsing at the end, and that's what you're heading towards. That's what you want? Michael Jackson nose vibes? Come on, lady. And on top of that, she's going to let Sarper kind of decide how it looks?
Half of my cases are revision like you from all over the world. Your nose is not bad.
Yeah.
But can be better.
So he's like a used car salesman. He's like, most of mine are revisions, but your nose is not bad. Could be better, though. That's like saying, hey, this car, but this one, yes, it's $10,000 more, but it's better, my friend, and it'll die on you in 3 months. Like this. I mean, there is nothing wrong with her nose right now. There was nothing wrong with her nose to begin with, but you started the surgery process, and now you can't get it right. So now she's trying for more, and eventually it's just going to be like, it keeps collapsing, doc, and they're going to be like, there's nothing more we can work with. I'm sorry. Now you just have Skeletor nose.
Look like a factory production. Every girl started to look like each other.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Now, that's a very nice thing he just said, is that you're starting to look like something basically off the assembly line. I don't want you to look like that. You don't need these surgeries. So it's a nice moment until the next scene.
We can cancel the surgery. I said her, at least give me a chance to me to talk, doctor, and tell him what I want.
So in the next breath, it's like, well, she's not going to cancel the surgery, so at least let me show what I want. And he proceeds to mark up her face. So this is why Sarper needs his own reality show. I mean, these two could have their own reality show, sure, but he's something, man. He's a trip, because it's like, he says one thing and then completely contradicts himself in the next, but yet justifies it somehow. Interesting and fun.
Spending my recovery with Sarper is kind of a test.
Oh, is it?
I really hope that he can step up because it's going to determine whether or not this is somebody that I can, live the rest of my life with.
So the test is now you're going to have a surgery and be like, does he take care of me right? I mean, don't get me wrong. It is a good test to see if someone is a good match because it's like through sickness and in health, right? But at the same time, you are going to be as grumpy as you've ever been in pain, and he already doesn't deal with that well, so probably not going to be the best outcome, but we'll see. Maybe he'll surprise me. Sometimes he shocks me. Every now and again, he does.
No sexual intercourse for 1 month after the surgery.
1 month?
Ah.
Yes.
Why is that?
1 month?
30 days.
Wait, why?
Yes.
That's so long.
Extreme physical activity can cause some bleeding in the nose, so...
Yeah, it's almost like your blood increases when you get excited, your blood flow increases. Why can't we have sexual activity? Oh my God, these two, man. Like, y'all just need to... Y'all do need therapy, but y'all need like a real therapist, not like a TV therapist who's just going to come on here for a few minutes and then you're going to be like, keep telling me he needs to go back to therapy. Why are you even getting this surgery? I mean, damn, you don't need it. And yet now all the complications that could happen, because let's be real, the way they act, they're not holding out for a month. She's probably going to end up with some deformed nose because they end up having sex and then the blood flow just messes everything up and it like falls off. That's going to be the next part of the show, is her nose falls off. So that should be fun. Either way, like I always tell you, these two need their own show. I could do a whole video on just these two if they had their own show. No problem at all, because it's entertaining. Does it really bode well for actually having a loving relationship? Maybe. I mean, everyone's different, but, entertainment value, 10. Absolute 10. Now, Sean and Joanna are still dealing with the aftermath of telling their kids, her friend, their kids, the two boys, his daughter, her friend, all of them, that they've been married for 2 years at this point, and trying to now deal with the fact that she wants to actually live over there most of the time. And let's be real, the boys are having a tough adjustment, especially the older one. And can you blame him? I mean, your first instinct should have been talk to your kids before you just randomly get married and then hold it from them for 2 years. They're gonna feel betrayed. So it may not go the way she wants it to go.
I really don't know how it's gonna just all fall into place.
How?
Everyone needs to work around your decision right now.
Absolutely. Everyone have to work around her decision. She says, you can stay in the house. And then he also says that, well, Dad lives 45 minutes away. What happens if something happens with his little brother? Oh, well, I'll be on a flight. But that doesn't help right then. And you're going to have the grandparents take care. The whole point was, I'm not trying to pull them away from their dad. Why wouldn't they just stay with their dad? So they're going to stay in the house where their dad's almost an hour away. But it just, none of it makes sense. It's not planned. It doesn't make sense. You couldn't have this discussion with them. And now they're just shocked. And they're like, what are we doing here, Mom? I don't know if they're going to say what she wants them to say.
Eager from everybody, I mean, at the same time, I wouldn't change the day that we had. I would just change the time period that we waited to tell people.
And he's the one that actually seems like he has genuine regret. Now, he should have thought about it too. He didn't even tell his daughter that him and Joanna were together. So he made mistakes too, but he's the only one that seems genuinely like, he's like, God, I wish we would have done it sooner. And he said several times like that he wanted to, but Joanna didn't want to. And so that was the issue. So I don't know why she was holding back. I mean, she was afraid maybe her older son, because he's a little bit older, would say, no, Mom, I don't like that. And then she'd have to either say too bad or she'd have to stick with it and break up. So yes, that's a fear, but it's also fear, real courage is taking fear and still doing what you know is right. That is part of being courageous, being, just being a mom or being a dad. Some of these things you have to do, which she just couldn't do because she didn't want to hear anything negative. That's not looking good for the future. I don't know about their relationship, but as far as having a fractured relationship with your sons, and that's not what you want. You really don't want that.
I cared for these boys before I even met them.
That's deep.
Goodbye, Bella.
So the fact that I've hurt them in some way is really weighing on me now at the minute.
Wow. That's deep though. So far, he seems like a genuine guy. He said, I cared about these boys before I ever met him. And the fact that, he basically kept something from them is really weighing on him. And it comes off more genuine from him than it does from their mom. It really does. And that's sad. Now, he could turn out to be not such a nice person. Later episodes, maybe, I don't know. But as of right now, he seems pretty genuine. And I think he genuinely cares. Now, what's going to happen when the 18-year-old comes back and says, Mom, we don't want you to move there. We want you to stay here. Is she going to follow through? I don't think he's going to say that, but I think that if he doesn't say that, it's just because he's trying to do what his mom wants and not what he wants, and thus will still strain the relationship longer in the long run, or more in the long run. It's just not a good situation. The whole point is they should have said this sooner, and then the boys could have adjusted, his daughter could have adjusted, and they could have been maybe in a better place, but they didn't. It was impulsive, it was instant gratification, and look where we are now. So it's just not a good thing going forward. But I really hope it works out. Like I said, they seem nice enough. We'll see. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I appreciate all the support, and I will see y'all next time.